Hello, everyone. It's Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Today is Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, 2023. Click on the subscribe button below here to subscribe to future episodes, and also the notification bell in the far upper right to be notified of future episodes. So, okay, let me go ahead and we'll get started with today's presentation. W&L's Prescient, Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe was one of the most insightful writers and novelists of the second half of the 20th century. He was also a Washington and Lee graduate who sometimes championed politically incorrect viewpoints, a context in which he was ahead of his time. Today's W&L faculty and administrators would do well to take note because they are intent on smearing the reputation of Robert E. Lee. In 1970, Tom Wolfe published two essays, Radical Chic and Mau-Mauing the Flak Catchers. The first ridiculed a fundraising soiree that composer and conductor Leonard Bernstein hosted at his Park Avenue apartment for the Black Panther Party. Wolfe peeled and roasted the attending whites for their absurd righteous pretense. The second essay describes how various San Francisco minority groups intimidated government program administrators, people that Tom Wolfe referred to as Flak Catchers, into giving them money, giving the minority groups money. He showed how a combination of bureaucratic ineptitude and white guilt combined to release taxpayer money to group leaders who were embezzling the anti-poverty funds for themselves. But the best example foreshadowing increasingly prevalent race hustling is Wolfe's 1987 novel, Bonfire of the Vanities. To be sure, the chief character is a philandering and perhaps over-generously paid Wall Street bond trader named Sherman McCoy. After picking up his mistress at Kennedy Airport, he takes a wrong turn off a bridge to Manhattan and ends up in the Bronx late at night. After a brief tour of the dysfunctional borough, he finds a ramp to a bridge connecting to Manhattan. While trying to clear road debris blocking the ramp, he is menaced by two sinister black youths. His mistress gets behind the steering wheel and guns the car to rescue Sherman, who jumps in as the Mercedes passes by and simultaneously hits one of the blacks. While hospitalized in a coma, the youth becomes a cause célèbre for the Black Reverend Reginald Bacon, who uses his followers to stir up community resentment with demonstrations. His purpose is to generate publicity to give a white lawyer, with whom he will share the winnings, an edge in a multi-million-dollar malpractice suit against the hospital. Given Al Sharpton's weight and body mass index at that time, 1987, there's little doubt that Reverend Bacon was a stand-in for Sharpton. During press interviews, Bacon dubiously represents the victim as an honor high school student intent on being first in his family to get a college degree. It's all fiction. It's all made up. Bacon's increasingly large demonstrations pressure borough politicians to find and prosecute the driver. White guilt and fear of losing the next election controls them. They become desperate to find the guilty driver, or even a culturally acceptable substitute who may not be guilty. The car is eventually traced to Sherman from a partial read of the license plate by the injured youth's companion. Even though his mistress was the driver during the hit and run, she denies it when police question her. That leaves Sherman as the ideal villain within the racially charged atmosphere. While Wolfe's story condemns Sherman for his part in the crime, it also shows how Bacon's race hustling and cowardly white politicians corrupt justice. 25 years ago, Wolfe's novel showed that America was evolving into a culture wherein race baiting and white guilt could be exploited in a progressively massive scale. One consequence is that Southern history has become a subset of Black history. When he attributed the recent fatal beating of a Black youth in Memphis by 5 Black policemen to, quote, white supremacy, Sharpton revealed that he has evolved into a caricature of the Reverend Bacon, and thereby an absolute parody of himself. Okay. Now what I'd like to show you is my most recent book here, which is Firepower. It is a novel, and it is a novel that connects actual historical events, connects the dots involving actual historical events to develop a picture, an unseen picture of how the Confederate Secret Service was used to in an attempt to block the introduction of repeating rifles into the Union armies. It's available at Amazon for $12.99 in paperback, and I think $2.99 in Kindle. If you'd like to get an autographed copy of it, you can email me, Phil, P-H-I-L _ Leigh, L-E-I-G-H, at me.com. Okay, that's our show for today, and thanks for watching.